So this will be a past journey read for the soul that connects to the angel number that appears here. And we have declutter life, create mental space. Your state of mind is a direct reflection on your physical space. Your angels are signaling to you that work needs to be done here. The time is right to declutter your space as a way to also declutter your mind. Take an inventory of the room you are currently in. Is there one thing you can clean, store, donate, recycle, or throw away? And then again, that number is 315. If that number is one that you are feeling connected to, because you are seeing that number appear in your life, you're noticing it repeatedly as you go about your day. Maybe the time of 3:15 is appearing to you often, then this read is for you to take a look at the energies of your past life journey that are appearing in your life today. And to start off, we'll take a look at the time period of the life that you lived in the past, where the energy is still coming through, creating patterns, either thought patterns or actions, events that are of the same energy that you may have been seeing for a long time. Maybe recently you've begun to notice a repetitive pattern of a certain kind of energy. And we're going to see the time period and approximate location. Oh, wrong part of the deck. We're starting out with a fisherman. Someone who lives by the sea, providing sustenance through fishing and trade. All right, so a little bit out of order there. Let's take a look next at, are we getting, okay, this is the time period one. Let's take a look at the time period. Fisherman, living by the sea, providing sustenance through fishing. Right. Let's see the time and place for this took place. We have the Viking Age. Okay, so the Viking Age. And so we're looking at this time period from 800 to 1100 CE. And that's the time of the Norse explorers, traders, and raiders with a strong warrior culture. It almost seems like a battle scene is taking place there with what seems to be maybe another ship on fire. We can see the spears of soldiers there on the ship. And then for you, during this Viking Age as a fisherman, maybe you saw such a scene. Maybe this was your first view of the Vikings, but it started out like this because you spent so much time on the water. Maybe encountering this scene was something very new to you, so you may or may not have been of the Vikings. Let's take a look at how this past life ended to see how the end point of this energy came about. I'm just going to, okay. So this did fall, and I wasn't sure. I didn't really catch it. This isn't meant to be in this part of the deck. So yeah, natural disaster was the cause of death. Your death occurred as a result of a natural event like an earthquake, volcanic eruption, or hurricane, which is probably the most likely with this connection to water that's repeated here. I just want to, okay, yes. So, okay. All right, so now we'll just take a look at the energies that were primary in your life, the elements of your life that were the most significant and that are connected to your life today. Oh wow, okay, natural disaster. Facing challenges due to events like floods, droughts, earthquakes, or other environmental calamities. So very much a repeated, so we have it here in the manner of death, and then we also have it appearing here as one of the challenges of your life as a fisherman. Let's see, we'll get two more to get a full picture of the energies that connect to today. To get really a full picture of who you were in this past life. We'll also do clarifiers from the tarot for each. We have poverty. None of these are in the reverse. The fact that this came out reverse, maybe you were able to provide for yourself and your family. So maybe some level of poverty, a life marked by material scarcity, hunger, financial hardship, destitution, and deprivation. So maybe this was more a consistent thing in your environment, but I'm going to leave it there in the reverse, since these cards are not in the reverse typically, and the fact that it came out like that, going to have the attention there. Unspoken truth. And it's funny how that flipped and almost wanted to stay in the deck, and I had to slip it out there. A truth or secret that was never revealed, still impacting your ability to communicate or trust others. With unspoken truth there may have been something then. Well, this is one of the energies of unfinished business, one of the energies of something that was very much left as a significant milestone or a significant element of your life that was left unfinished. And so that's an energy that is definitely carrying over, as much as, you know, this shocking type of ending, this very abrupt ending of having the life come to an end in a natural disaster. This was probably exactly what was on your mind when the end came at this point here. This secret that was never revealed. And right away my mind goes to what you would have witnessed on the sea as a fisherman. And who were you really? Were you a Viking? Were you of the Viking? Or so I want to take a look at that, because the time period itself, the clarity is pretty much there. The passing in a natural disaster, that type of energy, again, very abrupt, a sharp ending to a life. But I want to get more first on who you were as a fisherman in this past life. And for that, we'll go with this tarot deck here. The Mythos Tarot, where I think most all of these cards are depicting an individual. So you can kind of glean from that a more distinct level of the personality, who you were. We have Judgment, Athena. So as a fisherman, you would have been very aware of the world around you. The fish that sustained you would have been very known to you. Their ways, their areas where they would be found, the circumstances that you could best find them in, and just nature in general. So you would have a lot to draw on, wisdom of nature. And so you would make decisions that were not taken just lightly. You would have made decisions that would sustain your life and those that you may have supported. We have the Queen of Swords at the bottom of the deck, again signifying someone who makes sound decisions, who is not taking risks, who knows that there's more to a story, who's very rational, well thought out, acts in wisdom. Interesting here that Athena is pictured as a soldier, or the headdress of a soldier there. That style is very much like a Roman soldier. I think Athena, she was probably the goddess that represented the military, possibly. Seven of Wands following the Queen of Swords at the bottom of the deck. The Seven of Wands is someone who acts with moral justification from the high ground, who takes a position of almost authority, but the high ground, which is something that is important in combat as well. So I'm really leaning towards this past life being that of someone who may have been a fisherman and part-time trader, raider, possibly warrior. And then we have the Eight of Wands in the reverse. Eight of Wands would signify a lot of action, a lot of movement, travel. In the reverse, maybe not. And so maybe you were a Viking, but not one that traveled. We have the Four of Coins. It's an earth sign. Represents holding on, kind of staying put with what one has. Very concerned with material. Could be even described as someone who is materialistic, sometimes depicted with a treasure chest and the Fool behind that. So maybe you didn't go so far as a Viking or in that time. Okay, so the other elements of your life that appeared, that natural disaster. Let's do clarifiers for this. And for that, we'll use this deck that has great imagery of movement depicted. Very sort of modern artwork on this deck for the tarot. Natural disaster. What's significant about natural disaster? Besides it being a troubling element in this past life, what is significant about natural disaster here? Be that it was just the environment around, or maybe there was some type of loss in your life that came from a natural disaster. Could even just be the experience of it, of losing material goods possibly. We have here the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords has come up in the reverse here. So, oh, and on the sea again. So, the element of natural disasters may have just been something that brought a lot of worry to your life, that may have plagued your decisions, led to indecision. Bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Cups. And, you know, it's funny because, again, the water theme here, the thought of deep waters comes to mind on this Ace of Cups. So the sea and the water would be something that brought nourishment to your life. Just below that, we have the Chariot in the reverse. It's another meaning there of a blockage. So for you with natural disaster coming up as a significant element, this may have just been a persistent worry that you had to deal with, and maybe it would be also with what would come as a result of the natural disaster. Others that would maybe experience some level of deprivation, who would then seek out resources, and with maybe an overall environment of there being a lack that could have led to other sorts of dangers. And we'll do some clarifiers on this element of poverty that's come out here in the reverse, but still this might be something too that you feel in your life today, a feeling of seeing the overall environment as being one where there's scarcity. So that might lead you to kind of hold on to resources, maybe almost in a way that could almost feel like hoarding even, of your energy and your time. But let's see, clarity on poverty. It came out here. What else can we know about this element of poverty from this past life? So we have the Four again. So this is in the reverse. We have the Four of Pentacles. and we have this figure of a woman who is kind of, well, her home is a part of her. She sees it as her material goods are part of who she is, and she's got everything locked up there. Little padlocks and a little picket fence gate, and she's holding on to the little bit of resources that she has. So we see again the Four of Coins repeated, so just this feeling of lack that's there, but still having something. And then we have the Three of Swords here depicted as this male figure who looks like he's been hit by arrows, these weapons of war, straight to his heart, and the area around him seems to also be one of lacking. There are branches and yet there are no leaves here. So this is in the reverse, and so there may have been an experience of loss that happened in this past life that then resulted in this feeling of retracting oneself away from feeling the pain of loss, and maybe even the fear of attack or violence from others who were coming for those resources that were being held on to. And what is this unspoken truth? I want to know what that is. Let's take a look. Get some clarity on what the secret was that was never revealed and is still impacting your ability to communicate or trust others. This element of trusting others is also seen really with the Four of Coins as well. It's almost a fear of loss of material goods. What is the unspoken truth? What is this unspoken truth? It's funny too how there's so much of almost like a stuck energy of withholding decision, movement, or even sharing of resources with this Four of Coins here, and with the number connecting to this read being the 315 of declutter your life. There might very much well be some type of truth that has to do with the sharing of resources somehow. Death at the bottom of the deck, so some secret to do with a change needed. And then we had the Queen of Swords and Justice in the reverse. So this unspoken truth, the Queen of Swords, so now her eyes are open here, and here her eyes are shut for the unspoken truth. Almost like the Justice card. Justice is always blind, right? So she's not looking. And this is in the reverse. So you would have known something. The Queen of Swords knows many secrets that she may not share, but she'll operate based off of those secrets. She'll operate in the upright in a fair manner, weighing what she knows. With this energy though, it has the implication that it's something that should have been shared. but because of some lack of trust, possibly some type of cause and effect with the Justice here in the reverse, some type of situation where there was just a natural reason to not trust, to withhold some truth. Death and the Knight of Cups to the Five of Cups in the reverse. What is this injustice? Let's get clarifiers on the Justice in the reverse. So we have, okay, bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Pentacles in the reverse. Some offer that wasn't there. We have the Knight of Cups coming out and flying right over to the Viking Age. So maybe a messenger came with some offer. And then we have the Five of Cups in the reverse that was right after that. Maybe some offer that would bring back something that was perceived as being lost. We have the Empress that's come out here sideways, and that's the injustice. Bottom of the deck again is the Ace of Pentacles in the reverse. An offer that wouldn't be trusted. Nine of Cups in the reverse, or just behind that. There's something here very material. Something, the water is catching my attention too. Again, here, there was some offer made that wasn't trusted, and in such a way that it led to an injustice. With the Knight of Cups coming out with the Five of Cups, it makes me think that there was some heartfelt, almost reparation offered, coming from another side. And maybe this Queen of Swords should have known about this, and maybe this was not shared with the Queen of Swords here. As this really just suggests that a messenger came and attempted to make an offer to repair something lost, some regretful action maybe. And maybe that would have been something that would have brought abundance and nurturing. And that offer may not have been shared, or it may have been rejected, or just in some way not trusted. And then it could have been withdrawn after that. So I'm seeing this theme here, definitely of resources, of space, and a need for clarity. And with looking at the energies that were at play in this past life, it really seems that material resources here are, and also unforeseen circumstances as well, But it comes down to, you know, the resources that were available as a result, and then this unspoken truth. So it really seems like the view that's being provided here is one of not maybe thinking in a small way, but seeing things, trying to see things with clarity, and to communicate in a way that shows trust. Trust in the abundance, and also the need to have clarity, the need to declutter one's life. Okay, so let's take a look now at one of the oracles from the Spiritual Meaning of Birds. These oracle cards have a nice message on each of kind of pointing to a focus we may want to take, and then this can also be a clarifier on the read itself if you are seeing this bird or start to. Extra clarification there. We have perseverance, adaptability, calmness. And this is a junco. Little bird here. It looks like kind of a blue-gray coloring. A little bit of blush kind of at the border between the white feathers. Seems to be on maybe some kind of blossoming tree. Junco. Not sure about this bird, if I've ever seen one, but if you start seeing one of these, there's additional confirmation for you there that this read may be for you, for this past life you had as a fisherman, and this environment where you're living very much from the resources of the land, but also maybe competing with those others that were also there, and then missing an opportunity to communicate with those that maybe had earned your trust and maybe you should have communicated with. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope this brought clarity to any patterns you may be seeing in your life. And then we also have this advice here to declutter, create that mental space of a healthy environment for you to have a space of reflection where you can have clarity of mind. All the best to you. Thanks. Oh, and please subscribe. Even if this is not your read, I may be able to connect with you if you are subscribing, or if you like the video, that may also create a link if you haven't heard a story that is connecting to you just yet. All right, all the best.